Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Hugh. I'm your host. I've had quite a number of questions, especially recently, about when is Combat Chat coming back, where did it go? And finally, I can answer that Combat Chat will be back right now. So let's just get straight into it. Quite a lot's happened in between episodes. We've been gone for, I think it's been about a year, maybe a little bit more than a year. Last episode we published was with Rebellion promoter Sai Naji ahead of the Rebellion 8-man last year, which I took part in. And a couple of things started to sort of get in the way. I had a few big fights on the back end of last year. Things got busy and the podcast sort of just fell by the wayside. It's always been my intention to come back with the show. I miss doing it. It's something that I really enjoyed. And it's been really cool to hear from a lot of people who listened to and enjoyed the show, especially when I posted last week that we'd be coming back. Means a lot how much people have kind of enjoyed it and that people still remember us and want us to come back. And that's why I decided to get things going again. So what's been on? A little bit. If you follow me on my socials, obviously the Combat Chat ones have been dead, but I've been reasonably active. I'm living in Thailand now. Made the move over with my partner Kim, loving it. We have just been on a little bit of an adventure. We wanted to take our time and kind of find our fit. We want to settle down and stay here for, the foreseeable future, I suppose. At least we're going to be here another year. So we took some time. First up, we went over to Pattaya and spent a month training at Fairtex, which was absolutely incredible. That's a killer facility. I managed to get a spot on Fairtex fight, get back in the ring there, which was my first fight since being in Thailand. It was amazing. We've got like a few. I loved Fairtex, could have stayed there forever, but the plan for us was to move around and just kind of find our fit in terms of training and lifestyle and just where we wanted to live. It's also the other complexities, because I'm doing just Muay Thai and my partner Kim's doing MMA. So there's a lot to kind of suss out. We came over to Phuket after that, up on the kind of Syrian beach side first. I did some training with Revolution. Loved it there too. Tim Fisher has a really good operation. Kim did MMA at Bang Chao. I did a little bit of Muay Thai there, but definitely wasn't my thing. Then we came to the south of Phuket, to Rawai, for Kim to train with Sammy Cass and the team at Southside. And thus far, I've been training with Sudan Sitpalang, who a lot of people in Australia know actually out of Simbi Muay Thai. And we have thus far just really loved it down here. It's been a cool experience. The lifestyle in Rawai is incredible. Such a cool place to be. Naihan Beach, Yanui Beach, Promtep Cape, absolutely beautiful. Really happy with Kim training with Sammy, who's an absolute legend and is taking care of her really well. So Rawai pretty quickly became home. We enjoyed all the gyms that we had trained at, but in terms of where we found to live and the environment and the people down here, we're super comfortable, happy with Rawai, loving it. We've been here for over 2 months now. We've been in Rawai 2.5 months. We spent a month in some shorter term accommodation and then found the place to call home for the foreseeable future, got ourselves an apartment, and this is us now. So we're training every day, going to Thai school as well, which I am making progress at an absolute tortoise speed, but the effort's there. And yeah, enjoying ourselves. I've fought, since we've been in Phuket, 4 times at the local stadiums, Rawai Stadium and Simbi Stadium. Fought some alright names. Fought Farsai Chang Muay Thai a few weeks ago, and last weekend fought the veteran Kevin Soleimani from Iran. So really good experience for me. Been very busy fighting around about every 3 to 4 weeks so far, and injury-free and training well. So loving life down here. It's been a dream of mine forever, like every other Thai boxer, to just be able to focus fully on training and recovering and just living the life. And after being so busy for so many years trying to make fighting work alongside my day job, it's really cool, really refreshing feeling to just be down here living it and loving it. So we've had some other adventures too. I'm in Bangkok quite regularly. Thus far, I fly over there every few weeks. For one reason or another, I've done some commentary, was lucky enough to commentate the World League of Fighting event at Lumpini Stadium, which was super cool. And then a couple of weeks ago, Matty Williams and I got to go to Japan with RWS. Really grateful for that opportunity. I owe a lot of thanks to Joe Commerford for putting my name forward for that. And we were so well taken care of by RWS to get the opportunity to go to another country to commentate Muay Thai. And what an incredible show it was. The pound for pound great Kun Suk Lek getting taken out by Ruki Matsuda, and really excited to see that rematch has now been announced. So I'll be watching that really closely. Honestly, thus far, just living the dream, commentating big shows, fighting a lot, training, and meeting great people down here in Rawai. So that's where the show's been. I've just been out living life. It's really hard to make a podcast if you don't go and live life a little bit and get some stories to tell. So that's what I've been doing, but I've got some stories now and looking forward to getting back in the swing of recording the show. So I wanted to use this episode as just a little bit of a chance to reintroduce myself, I suppose, get back in the swing of combat chat. And when I put out that we were going to make another episode this week, I put a call out for questions and got basically like the same 1 or 2 questions a bunch of times, which was, where have you been? Which is like, that's kind of an invasive question, but I get it. Like I kind of explained that in the last section. Took a bit of a pause from making the show to take a breath and keen to come back now. And the other question was in different words, in a couple of different ways, was what are you going to do with the show moving forward? So that was kind of what I wanted to cover in this episode, and then we will get started with regular programming from here. So my plans for Combat Chat podcast is basically I'm going on a whole bunch of really cool adventures, just living the Muay Thai life, and I want to bring the listeners with me. There's a lot of really cool people around the area that I'm in right now that are involved in the scene, running Muay Thai gyms, that I think we can make some really cool, do some really cool work with. I'm in talks with a couple of people already about getting involved with me on a somewhat regular basis. So I'm really excited to do that. How I see the show looking moving forward, probably the first thing you'll notice is it's just me on screen. The podcast the last few years that most people got involved in it was myself and Shane Greenwood of Double Dragon Gym. We now live in different countries, so it's a little bit difficult to make a podcast together. And he's, I wanted to make a show using the same channel and just kind of, we've got a good little community that send their questions in and things like that. I didn't want to start again from scratch, and he was really happy for me to take the reins. So Shane, I hope I can keep as a listener because he's the whole reason the show exists. I owe Shane, like in a lot of ways, I owe Shane kind of everything. He's one of the best friends I've ever had. He was my first trainer, the first time I ever went to train when I was 13, 14 years old. Shane was teaching the class. Starting the podcast was his idea in the first place. When we made the podcast, all those episodes, he did all the editing. He was always the brains behind the operation. It was kind of his creative outlet. He opened the door for me to come in and do it, and I just kind of hijacked it. But I also commentated for the first time alongside Shane. I probably wouldn't be fighting without Shane. He was the person that introduced me to Thai boxing, and I wouldn't be commentating or broadcasting or podcasting or any of that either, because it was always his idea, and he was the one that kind of pushed me to give it a try. I've always had a lot to say, but I find it a little bit difficult to get involved in this kind of thing. Maybe not anymore, but I did always find it difficult to get involved in this kind of thing. So Shane's the reason that we're doing this, and we're here. But I will take the reins from this point on. But Shane, a lot of thanks. And I'm sure we'll be able to, Shane's doing a lot of really cool stuff with his fighters and also in his role with Muay Thai New South Wales to do kind of like grassroots development stuff. So I'm sure there's more work to come from us. But for me, just owe him a ton of thanks. A great friend to me and a really important part of my life. So what do we do from here with Combat Chat? A lot of the episodes in years gone by were kind of an interview format, and especially because so many of the episodes that we made were in kind of that lockdown COVID period because like there's nothing else to do. And we got into a real habit of doing like Zoom interviews, just screen recorded, there's someone else on the other side. We did a lot of good work. I enjoyed a lot of those. I'm not against doing that from here, but it's not what I want to focus on for a few reasons. Now I'm in a different kind of time zone to a lot of the people I want to speak to, and that makes it a little bit hard. I record at weird hours. And also I just think recording over things like Zoom and video conferencing platforms, it's a little bit impersonal. I don't think you get the best out of an interview, and I just think I can offer a little bit more, get a little bit more creative in a different format. So I am going to do some interviews. I've had some chats with people you will really like to hear from that are in this area that I can sit down with and speak to in person. So there will be interviews. I'm just focusing on people I can chat to in person, either here in Phuket or on my adventures. And I've got a few lined up already, which is going to be awesome. I just think that's better for the listener. It's more enjoyable for me. It's a better product because you can get a little bit more personal, and chatting face to face is always a bit more comfortable. I want to focus in outside of any kind of interview stuff on a little bit more technical analysis, current news, things like that, stuff that I can a little bit more deep dive into in the kind of like world of Muay Thai. Of course, when you're interviewing another person, you're talking to them about their career, their history, how they got started. It's quite difficult to touch on what's going on in the world. And of course, now being here in Thailand, I'm so close to where Muay Thai lives. Like I can offer a lot more value. Where in the past, I'm always speaking about things that I'm directly involved in. So we would speak a lot on previous episodes about local Muay Thai shows, about kind of amateur, like the grassroots scene, things we've been doing, things like the fighters in our gyms have been doing. Now what I'm close to is what's going on in Thailand. So that's what I can give a window into. I think that's a little bit more interesting for listeners as well. I will still talk, my kind of like coverage is probably going to be primarily the Australian scene because it's what I watch the most of. But the big shows in Thailand will get more, like I'm watching a lot of RWS. I go on and off one championship, to be honest. I suppose I have to cover it. I don't know. What do people want to hear about? What do you not get coverage of? Because I'm all in on RWS. I love it. Of course, Maxi's in there right now. So everyone from Australia is watching it really closely. That to me is like the best Muay Thai format and the best collection of top level fighters fighting in, like the most entertaining format. So I will do more coverage of what's happening in Thailand and the big shows in Australia. I'm a little bit further away now from that kind of middle tier stuff, the developmental shows, but I'll cover everything that I come across. So I guess it's a good time to be coming back with this huge Rebellion Road to Rajadamnern show this weekend. I also want to be a little bit more technical. So what I'm thinking for a format, I've been playing around with how I want to do it. I think the main weekly episode is going to be, we're going to call it 5 rounds. I'm going to pick 5 topics, and that might be a fight that I really like that I want to break down a little bit more technically and actually look at the science behind it. That's something that I like to do that I think a lot of people enjoyed from previous shows that we did kind of move away from in getting into the more interviews. It might be just a topic, something that's come up a little bit, news, current affairs-y. It might be a preview of something that's to come. I'm going to pick 5 things. I'm always engaging with Muay Thai news, pick my 5 favorites. I'll put the call out every week to the listeners to see what is capturing your interest and see what if you want to hear something to be a segment or a round on the show, tell me. If it's got some interest, I'll speak about it. Then I think later in the week, probably looking for like a Tuesday morning go live for the main episode, the 5-rounder. And then later in the week, Thursday or Friday, I'll put out just a Friday report. Just here's what's coming this weekend. Here's what's worth keeping an eye out for. And here's where you can catch it. So it's just a little bit. I think sometimes for me, when I was getting involved in Muay Thai and becoming a fan, I found it difficult to keep up with what was on and where it was all going. So here's what's on, here's where you can catch it, and that'll just be a good way to end the week and make sure you don't miss any of the good fights that are on. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm also we're going to just find our feet over the next few weeks as we bring the episodes back. So I only want to make what people actually want to hear. So you tell me if that sounds like a cool way to put out the show, or you'd like something different, or I'm really open to hearing what people want from the show, because there's no show, there's no listeners. So you tell me what you want. That's what I'm going to run with in the beginning, and we'll just see what works. But so that's kind of the current, what I'm looking at for the schedule. 2 episodes a week, one main one that's going to be broken up into 5 segments based on what's happening in the world, and then an end of week just to run through what's happening for the week and fights to look out for and what I'm excited for. And yeah, so you tell me how that sounds. As the episodes start to come out, I'm super open to feedback. People were mostly pretty nice, honestly, but in the past, people have not been shy when they don't like something I do. So just keep doing that. If you want me to do something differently, or there's something else you want to hear from the show, someone you want me to speak to, yeah, really all ears on how we make the best show for everyone to listen to. So that's how things are looking moving forward for Combat Chat. I'm really excited to be back, and I'm sure the format will kind of change face a little bit as we get in the swing of it, but I think that's a good starting point. I'm looking forward to making episodes, but I do need something from all 7 of you that are still listening. I'm putting in a lot of work to make sure the show is better than it's ever been, and you really can help grow it. If you like what we do, it really does help more than you realize if you share the episodes with, your like-minded friends who may also enjoy it. If you subscribe, that helps us get seen by more people and just makes the work that goes into producing the episodes worthwhile by making sure as many people as possible can hear it. The other way you can help, and I know a lot of you have always been really good at this, is to just engage and be a fan of the show. If you have questions that you want covered, send them through. If you have opinions on things that I've said, get involved in the discussion, send me a message, because the best way that I can understand what people want to hear and how I can make the best possible show is if people are engaging with the episodes. And I know we've probably got to get back in the swing of it to get people chatting to us again. But if we can get to a place where we were in previous episodes, that'd be awesome. Be open, listen, engage, tell me what you want to hear, ask your questions, because that's how the show keeps going. That's how I am the closest to what the listeners are thinking of what we're saying, and that's how I can improve on what we're doing. So if you have any feedback, positive or negative, as the episodes come out, I really want to hear it. You can ask questions and things anonymously. That's absolutely fine. A lot of people used to do that. You don't have to, you can have an anonymous opinion too. I really want to hear what people thinking of the topics that are getting discussed. That's how I can stay the closest to kind of the general consensus on things in the world of Muay Thai. When we're doing this, I think one of my favorite things about producing this show has been the community that we were able to build. And I know you guys are all still out there and we're all really keen to hear the show come back. So excited to be first episode back on. Please, if you like what we're doing, help us out by sharing, subscribing, getting involved in the conversation, and really excited for what the future holds for Combat Chat Podcast. So from here, we will kick start with the episode format that we discussed over the course of this episode. I'll be putting in extra bits and pieces to keep you up to date with what's going on here in Thailand and just my adventures, and let's see what we can do with it. So Combat Chat Podcast, thanks very much. Just a quick one today, just to get the show back up and running. We're alive. Let's do it. Combat chat. See you soon.